Okay, guys, it's time. It is that time. It's our first election coverage video of this upcoming presidential cycle. So get ready. If you hate politics, now's your chance quickly to close right out because we're diving right into it with the story time of sorts. So tonight we tell the story of the sad story. Oh, so tragic. Of the GOP, once a strong, honorable political party that I was a member of. And admittedly, it was my later high school years and early 20s, so that was nearly my exact age. That was about 10 years ago or so. But now, it has become a sad shell of what it once was. Keep in mind, these are like the party of like the John McCain conservatives, right? And I held John McCain up to here. I mean, come on, a real hero, and all these things. A great senator. He did great by our country. And although he can't piss his party off, and he gave that famous thumbs down, he was the epitome of what was the GOP of the past. And now what do we have? The GOP of today, which is what I call the grand old Duke kissers. So maybe it should be the GODK, as in grand old Duke kissers. Because instead of aligning on a central theme that we should not be kissing the boots of any one political figure, regardless of how well he might do for our own careers, instead, they do exactly that. They kiss the boot of the one and only, who else? Donald J. Trump. And this is a fact whether you hate or love Trump. And I sit here and I analyze everything as a political pundit wannabe. Again, don't take any political opinion or advice from somebody with this stuff behind me in his early 30s. So that tells you enough right there. But analyze my opinion, right? Just like anyone else. And I look at the GOP, and it really honestly breaks my heart because we're going into our first debate, televised debate, in a little bit over a month. And on this stage, we'll have Donald Trump, of course, if he decides to join them, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, as Trump calls him, Ron DeSantimonious. Personally, I like the one attack ad that he did on DeSantis, the sales tax. I think that's pretty funny. And there's that Vivek, I don't know his last name, Vivek or Vivek, he's a businessman. Of course, Nikki Haley will be there, the former ambassador under Trump. And unfortunately, it will be pretty much the audition for Trump's vice presidential nomination, is what it will basically be. In the grand scheme of things, the only person on that stage that, in my opinion, will not give one iota if Trump goes to pick him as VP would be Chris Christie. And that's because Chris Christie just doesn't give a crap. He's centering his entire existence in this campaign on just trashing Trump. And will it pay off ultimately? No. Chris Christie knows very well he won't win. What he's doing is giving Trump some retaliation for Trump basically getting him the shove in Trump's time in office. Chris Christie became more useless than a doorknob that's broken. I mean, he just became so useless. So Trump doesn't give a crap. And the only time Trump could care is during these debates, if he even shows up. So then we have Mike Pence. Now, this is where things get so fascinating to me. Now, what a time to be alive. Seriously, guys, I'm not saying that facetiously either. But we are living in a time rich with American history. 30 to 50 years from now, kids will be reading this in their textbooks. and saying, wow, this really happened. And it did. It really happened. But Mike Pence, for the first time ever in American history, I believe, or at least not very often, is running against his former boss for the nomination. Now, will he get it? No, he won't. Now, there's this scenario that will play out over time when Trump is facing multiple indictments, and so legal troubles could derail his campaign. Now, it doesn't take a political science major to kind of make an educated guess on who will, based on polling at least, which polling has been wrong in the past, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but judging based on where conservatives have been leaning so far, it looks like Ron DeSantis could be the strong second place if something was to happen with Trump. And then there's sad Mike Pence. It's just so sad. Poor guy. You almost have to feel awful for that guy. Like, in Mike Pence's mind, he is, well, maybe this is true for almost all of them in the field right now, but especially for Mike Pence, he's walking that delicate balance of telling Trump how it is, but also not alienating Trump's base, where he served as vice president. You know what? It shows you the sticky side of politics, because that's what it is. It's dirty politics. And it goes to show you that no matter how you feel about Donald Trump, whether you hate him, love him, you think he's Satan, you think he's Jesus, whatever, I don't care. I'm snap dab in the middle. If you don't already know, when it comes to politics, I analyze everything. I have some beliefs that would probably fall on the conservative side, and most social issues, I lean liberal. And I don't like to even use labels. Like, I just think of humanity. I think of human rights. LGBTQ rights is just human rights. There shouldn't be a political leaning. So all the umbrella of that stuff to me shouldn't be considered liberal. It's just human rights. And with sensitive topics like abortion, which is very divisive, I understand that. I also could be seen as liberal, because while I have my own personal beliefs, that shouldn't matter. Because at the end of the day, should the government have a final say in what a woman does with her own body? Yes, even if there's a living, developing fetus in that body, it is still ultimately that woman's body. And so for me, I don't think the government should have a say and should pass no legislation that indicates otherwise. Now, oddly, that belief is labeled liberal in this day and age. But really, I think that's a conservative value in a different sense. Because conservatives, historically, are against government overreach. Well, in what universe does a government dictating what a woman does with her body? How is that not government overreach? So, that's just my thought on that. But, with that being said, going back to the topic at hand, so I digress. So, going back to the topic of tonight's video, which is the sad story of the GOP, those of you watching that are conservatives, Republicans, that is not meant to be a blanket attack on all their beliefs and values. That's not my intent. What I'm simply conveying my opinion of is how the GOP has evolved. Well, evolved actually might be too good of a term to use. It has denigrated, I should say, into a party that almost is unidentifiable from the past. And again, I started off with that little analogy of John the King, but that really is a central theme of where my thinking is. Because now, John the King is actually considered like a bad figure in this current GOP landscape. And it's so sad because there's a belief, and I want to empathize. I want to see the diehard Trump supporters. I mingle with the best of them, okay? I have friends that are diehard Trump supporters. I have friends that hate Trump. I don't believe in using divisive, like, oh, I won't associate with people that think this way or that way. How could this person think this way? That's not my style. And my opinion is, if you want to do you, you do you and think whatever you want to think. But, how you want to feel, I should say. And that's just politics, right? But part of politics, too, is being able to do that and not just swearing people off because they disagree. But here's where it gets difficult. There are some people that spew these bat crap crazy, I'm trying not to curse, I'll say bat crap crazy conspiracies and embrace it. Politicians, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like her spew this stuff, and it has infected the politics of this nation because it has trickled into actual government, not just on some stupid discussion thread site, like QAnon's, whatever the blog post or whatever. No, these people are actually infecting our government now. And that's what becomes really scary. Because at the end of the day, I don't think these diehard Trump brothers understand that he doesn't understand these conspiracies himself. All he understands is when his advisors say to him, Mr. Trump, these people XYZ support you. And that's all he cares about. And I think that falls on deaf ears. That I think there's a general consensus that Trump is just either really, really idiotic and stupid, or he's a genius, depending on how you look at it. And I think that he entered politics for his own self-gain, as most politicians do, to be fair. But now it's about making a statement. It's not about his legacy. Trump is not that clueless. He knows his legacy is forever stained. He knows it. But now it's a greater statement about, I'm going to come back and show you all one more time that I can disrupt politics. And whether he wins or not, he really has done it already. Because the GOP has either lined up, some legislators have just resigned or retired, but a lot of GOP candidates, lawmakers, I should say, have lined up and sworn their loyalty to him. And they will not go against him. And they will articulate any argument in his favor that they have to do, either on camera and most of the times off camera too. Why is that? I call it sociopaths. He has done one thing very well. He has shown America and the entire world how disingenuous politics really is and how dirty it really is. It's all about these people's careers. They couldn't care less about the long-term impact of this nation. It doesn't matter to them. As long as their careers are intact and their base is hurting them, is hurting their income, which obviously they all get paid to do these, lawmakers, they all get paid. But that's where it goes. I digress though. But going back to what it is, going back to the sad story of the GOP, man, I hope that this changes, guys. I hope no matter what happens in the next year or so, If some crazy thing happens and Trump does win, then so be it. I'll eat my words. But I think his legal issues are going to stop him from victory yet again. And this will be the end of it. I really think, maybe I'm being foolishly optimistic, but I really think the GOP will get their heads out of their asses and they will finally realize that Trump is a losing ticket. He had one victory in 2016, and it was impressive in its own respect. But he then systematically, over the next few years, just decided to keep shooting himself in the foot over and over and over and destroying any aspect of his legacy that he could. Why? To this day, that I can't figure out. But the point is, that's what's going to happen now. Hopefully he begins to understand that his legacy is tied to how he behaves. I'll tell you what, guys, I cannot wait for this debate in a little over a month from now. It's going to be just so amusing. Like, I'm sitting here praying to the Republican gods that, not literally that there's any Republican gods, I'm praying that Trump, in all his infinite wisdom, if you call it that, if he does go debate on stage with these guys, he's basically giving Fox News, who's hosting that first debate, he's giving them such an olive branch. I mean, they really should kiss his behind. If anyone should, it should be Fox News if he decides to go on that debate stage, because that's just going to be so amusing. I can't wait for that. But until this next video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly, and I'll see you in my next episode. Until then, peace out for now.